Long-term bare bones budget. Why would we want to do such a thing? And how do we manage that? Let's talk about it next. Thank you for joining me today. I'm Bonita. I'm from rural Kansas, and I early retired at the end of October at the age of 57. I'm so happy that you're joining me today. This is a requested video on what if you need to do a bare bones budget long term. How would you go about that? And so today I'm going to try to answer some of those questions. A bare bones budget is basically cutting your budget and your expenses as low as you can possibly go to still be comfortable and stop all of the extra spending so that you can save towards something, or in case there's been a financial difficulty that you need to recover from, like maybe a financial emergency, maybe just general financial problems where your income is not matching your expenses right now. Or if you have unpredictable income where this month you're just not making that much, or last month you didn't make that much and you need to cut back. So, the first thing that we will want to do is we will want to sit down and write down all of our essential spending that we absolutely have to have. Essential spending is what we're going to want to focus on, and how much money we're going to want to make sure that we can cover. And then everything else is just going to go on the back burner while we are focusing on whatever situation or whatever goal or whatever savings that we are wanting to accomplish by doing this. So, your essential costs and expenses are going to be like transportation. If you have a car, any upkeep on the car, any oil changes, gasoline, tags, insurance, you're going to want to budget that in. For me, that's $103.64 a month for all of those things. If you use public transportation, you'll want to figure in the costs of what it takes you to go back and forth to work, go to the grocery store, the things that you absolutely have to have that public transportation for. The next thing you are going to want to budget in that is an essential cost is your housing. If you have rent, if you have a mortgage, if you have insurance, if you have property taxes, anything like that that's associated with where you live, you're going to want to budget that in. For me, I take that amount and I divide it by 12 and I plan for that every single month. And that amount for me is $74.44 a month. The next thing you're going to want to budget in is your utilities. And I have other videos on how to keep your utilities as low as possible. And I can link that playlist at the end. But you're going to want to count your phone, your internet, if you need that for work or if you need that for any type of side job that you're doing at home, your electric, your gas. For me, that is propane. And a lot of people have a water bill. For me, I don't, because I live in the country. Your trash bill, unless you live in an apartment, and that's covered. So all of those utilities that are essential, you're going to want to budget in that amount or that average amount for this time of the year and what season it is. For me, that adds up to $351.95 a month. The next thing you're going to want to budget in is your food and food for a pet if you have a pet. Those are essential. However, there are lots of ways that you can eat inexpensively and that you can save money on food. I have lots of videos on how to save money on food if you are looking for ways to do that. But if you add that in, that is also your essential amount. And that is something that you can kind of toy with that amount to save a few more dollars there if needed. And then the last area is like medicine and insurance. So if you have health insurance that you pay for, you're going to want to budget that in. If you have prescription medicines or vitamins that you're on regularly that you absolutely need, you're going to want to budget that in. Now, there's ways to save money on medicine, and that's one of the things that I do. When I had health insurance through my employer, I had it set up on a 90-day mail order, and that saved me money versus picking it up at the pharmacy in 30-day increments, which is the only way my insurance would cover it if I picked it up in person. Now I use the Kroger Health Savings Plan, and I pick up my medicine at Dillon's. It is $36 a year to get discounted medicines. That equals out to $3 a month. I have budgeted $44 for my medicine. However, that includes vitamins that I take. And I have all of that budgeted in. Now that I'm on that health savings plan, I'm monitoring that closely to see if that budget can be changed over this next year. But I'm budgeting that in right now at $47 a month. So if you add all of my bare bone essentials together, that would be $872.03 a month that I could live on if I absolutely needed to. Notice that doesn't have any streaming services. We have a Roku box. We do have 2 streaming services now that I could get rid of. That doesn't include eating out. It doesn't include extra snacks. It doesn't include going out for coffee. It doesn't include anything extra other than these essentials. And then everything above that, I could put towards my debt. If I had any debt, I could put it towards any savings goal that I had, or I could put it towards an emergency fund. Anything above that, I could save. And then I could tweak that as I needed to if I saw I could cut back, say in the food area. The next step would be to get your credit card statements. If you use credit cards, get your bank statements, go through those with a fine tooth comb and look at what extras you have been spending on. And look at what areas that you're able to cut from your budget. A lot of times we can be really surprised at how those little swipes of a card can really add up, but we don't think about it because a card doesn't always feel like real money until it comes out of our checking account. Then we realize that it's real. But a lot of those costs add up so quickly, even though they're tiny amounts. And sometimes some of those streaming services, we forget that we have them and we don't know that things are being taken out of our account. So keeping track of every single thing that comes out of our account and looking to see if there's anything that we really need to be stopping that's coming out of our account is a great next step to figure out your bare bones budget. Now, notice this budget does not allow for us to be deprived of anything. All of our basic needs are met. It's our wants that we are cutting back on. It's the things like going out and spending money doing things that has been cut out of our budget. The extra money of maybe shopping online at home or having those extra TV apps that we are watching to catch our favorite programs. Those are the things that we are cutting out if we are really wanting to do bare bones and get back on track. But nothing is going to deprive us of food, shelter, transportation, or health. Now, some people believe in doing no spend days, no spend weeks, no spend months. So I want to talk briefly on all of those. No spend days work for some people who normally spend money every single day, and it's really tough for them to just not spend money today when they go to work. Those are good practice days for people that are used to spending money every day. But if you try to have no spend days and then spend days, you just have to be really careful that on those spend days, you're not spending extra to make up for all of those no spend days. Sometimes we can do that. We'll think, well, I haven't spent anything all week. And then we go out on the seventh day and spend $250. And we're like, wow, I just blew everything that I had saved because I thought I was doing so good. So we really have to watch to make sure that doesn't happen. A no spend week is a great trial period to see if you can get through a whole week without spending any extra money. And look at how much extra you have saved that week. That can really energize us to have us keep going. Many times we can sit down and see that we saved $30 or $50 in that no spend week. And for some people, it may even be more than that. So that can really give us motivation to maybe then try a no spend month. If you can stick to this for an entire month and you are living within your means, within your income, you probably are going to have money left over that is going to pleasantly surprise you. Another great tip is to push back those shopping days. If you normally shop every single day, stopping by to buy something fresh at the store, a lot of times you will pick up some other things. If you normally shop once a week, we get used to, oh, I always shop on Saturday. Saturday's shopping day. And we go sometimes whether we need things or not, and we pick up extra things. If you can push that back to 9 days or 10 days and try to use what you already have, or make the rule that you're only picking up fresh consumables like milk, cheese, bread, eggs, and nothing else, that can save us a lot of money. That's something that I have done since I returned home from wintering in Texas. I realized how slow we were actually going through food, and then I actually had stockpiled more than we needed for two people. And I started pushing my shop days back to a week and a half or 2 weeks. And if I did really need something perishable, I would pick that up. But I didn't go and buy a bunch of other stuff when I picked up the perishables, just to see how long I could go really without buying all of this extra stuff. And it has not only saved me money, but it's saved me a huge amount of time and hassle just by pushing those shopping days back. Now, for some of us, staying home is a lot easier than for other people. So during this, I'm not saying hole up in your house or your apartment and don't do anything, don't go anywhere, don't have any fun. There are still lots of things we can do and places we can go that are fun and don't cost any money. Maybe pack a picnic and take it to the local park and walk there if you can, or have a picnic in your yard if you have a yard, or maybe go to the local lake and go fishing if you have a fishing license, or take your picnic there. Maybe go on some hikes if you live in some very scenic areas. I know when my daughter lived in Oregon, it was full of waterfalls and all kinds of free hiking areas, and she didn't get a chance to even see a fraction of those in 4.5 years. So sometimes there are things we can do to break up that monotony so we don't feel like we can't do anything fun while we are trying to save and live on that bare bone budget longer than we would really like to. So I hope that this video has had something in there that maybe you could use, or something that you hadn't thought about yet. Let me know in the comments below if you have any other tips to share on how to make a bare bones budget work long term. I hope to see you in the next video.